Hi everyone, Sheree here. Today I'm creating a layout using a variety of Felicity Jane kits. I've got bits and pieces from the Brooke kit, the Henley kit, and I've also printed out a few things from the Brie digital kit. Now I did just arrange them all onto a page of the bits that I wanted to print onto an A4 page in Photoshop and then printed them out. So what I've chosen to use on this page is the title Beautiful Day, so that's already cut out ready to use, and there was this black and white stripy bow as well, which is really cute. I've also gone ahead and made a tag to use on my page. Now I used this white tag as my template, and this was in the Heidi kit. There was a set of tags in the Heidi kit quite a few months ago now, but I've just used that, and you could use any tag that you have in your stash. Just use that as a template on the solid color paper. I think this was from the Brooke kit, this solid color, and I've just cut that out and punched a new hole and added some twine to the top. So that one's ready to go as well. The other thing I've created to use on the page, it's really the feature of my page, are these pretty layered flowers. So I've used a variety of papers from different kits, and I've used a combination of punches and dies to make these flowers. So I've got this really old punch. I've had it for a long time. It's an EK Success flower punch. I used this one here, a Martha Stewart punch, and I've punched all the flowers from this punch with vellum, and that is the top layer. The other two layers of the flowers were these dies. These are a Sizzix die, and that was a set of all different sized flowers that came in that set. So what I did, I punched each one in the mix of papers, so you can see they're all different sizes. And now to get that curled sort of finish on each flower, to give it nice dimension, all I did was got the flower and roughed it up with my nail. So I'm basically just running my nail from the middle of the flower right out to the edge of the petal, being quite rough with it, and that just helps to add extra texture. It curls up the ends of those petals, and then you have a lovely curled textured flower. And then all I did was layer them together from the biggest to the smallest, and that very top layer is the vellum flower. And then I just took that over to my sewing machine and did some really messy stitching in the middle. I'll pick one that you can see easily there, so you can see that really messy stitching in the center. I haven't trimmed the threads off yet. I'm still deciding how long I want to do those. I quite like the texture of the threads, but we'll see what happens with that. Okay, I've got my photo here from Mother's Day on Sunday, so that's what this page is all about. I'll clear off my desk and get started and show you what I've got planned. Okay, so I've adhered the white cardstock onto the background and stitched down the sides, and I've also stitched around the edge of that tag as well. So next I'm going to just mark the very center of the page down the bottom there, and what I'm planning on doing is adhering the flowers from the bottom of the page up. So first I'm going to add a glue dot behind each of those flowers. That'll keep them in place really securely. And then I'll go ahead and play around with placement. So I'll decide on which order to stick these down, just to get a nice coverage of colour. Nice and balanced. So now you can see I'm just going ahead, sticking those into place. Just really trying to get them lined up nice and as straight as I can as I go, so I don't have to try and move anything afterwards, because those glue dots are really sticky. Okay, just keeping those threads nice and loose. I do decide to keep the threads long, and what I do, I think I do it off camera, but I just wrap all those threads around the flowers, in between the flowers, and it just gives a look of that messy thread in underneath them and adds lots of lovely texture to the page. Okay, so I'm just using my T-square ruler to make sure they're fairly lined up nice and straight before I go ahead and add the rest of those bits and pieces. So I've got my big tag there at the top. My photo will go down the bottom of the tag. I've got my journaling strips and that little black and white bow. The title will go across the top of my photo, And I've also got some pattern paper there. I'm just trimming that tag down because I thought it was a little bit too tall. And that piece of pattern paper, I think from the Brook kit, I decide is a little bit too tall as well. So I'm just tearing the very top of that. Now I've just flipped it upside down, but I do turn it around to have the lovely torn edge at the top for a little bit more texture. Okay, so just making sure I've got enough room for everything there the way I want it to look. Alright, so now I've gone ahead and stitched down the tag and that piece of pattern paper, and I can start sticking the rest of my bits down. So I've got the photo going on there now, and that's just tucked in behind the flowers. My title will be going across the top of the photo, and that's got lots of foam squares behind it for added dimension. And I did mention before, this title was from the Brie digital kit, and I just used Photoshop to print that out and just cut it out with my scissors. Very easy. Alright, so that can go on there now. I've got all those little backing pieces off. So just trying to line them up as best I can. Just hanging them off the edge of the pattern paper as evenly as I can as well. Alright, then I've got my journaling strips. I just did those using my computer. And I've got the thin double-sided tape on the backs of those. And off camera I do add some more stitching along each of those strips as well. So more texture going on there, and I'll show you a close-up of that a little later. And then the final thing at the top here is this little black and white stripy bow, which is so cute. I absolutely love this bow. So I've got foam squares behind that one, again for added dimension, and I'm just adhering that just above the hole in the tag. Alright, only a couple more things to do on this page now, and I'm just going to stamp the date onto a little white tag from my stash, and I'm just going to wrap the twine around that top right flower there, and that's just going to hang down just next to the flowers and next to that little puffy heart. I did add 3 little puffy hearts scattered around the page, and I'll add some double-sided tape behind that just to keep it into place. And then all I need to do is rough up the sides of that cardstock. I will give you a closer look though first at the stitching at the top of the tag there that I did off camera. So you can see there, lots of lovely texture going on with all those threads. So I'll just rough up the sides of the cardstock, and that is it for this page. So I hope you've enjoyed seeing how this has come together today. I'll leave a link to Felicity Jane down below, and also some close-up photos at the end. Thank you so much for joining me. Let me know if you've got any questions. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.